The old liberals like Hayek were against Keynesian policy of money creation because they were considering that there was an imbalance between production and accumulation. Hayek is very clear on this. And that this imbalance was caused by lavish monetary policies, as Keynes advocated, because for some time the full utilization of capacity was assured by increasing investment goods production, for which there was no comparative consumption goods production. And in a Hayekianization model, a limitation of investment goods production would at some point of time had led to a crisis, a fall in prices, and an increase of the real purchasing power of the wages paid. The wages normally go less down than the prices of products. That's the idea. Keynes was suggesting we do not need to have this cleaning process. It's enough that we maintain demand by lavish monetary policies, and then the demand for labor will restart and real wages will increase, like neoclassical economists would say, following productivity increase. Because we will reach full employment and then it works. But there is no guarantee that people will invest in projects if the money is cheap, because even if the money does not cost anything, as long as you have your money in bank, it keeps its value minus inflation rate. But if you are purchasing a plant for production, and if it does not succeed because nobody wants to buy the products, then you have lost your money. So as long as there is not sufficient demand, monetary policy will not work. And that is the error which they are doing actually, and partly Hayek to this was right, because he was arguing that you have not to avoid that the money roaming around becomes too important. We will not be able to keep the economy at the rate of its expansion, which corresponds to the factors of the real economy, increase of productivity of labor, etc. And therefore, we will have an overheating of the economy, and then we have a fall down of the economy. And the fall down, we naturally can once more try to give money, but that will be probably an economy where there is totally enough money.
And this is the way you see it going? We're going down that
I
route,
fear that Mr. Draghi's policy will lead in 4 or 5 years to a new crisis. It will lead to overheating, perhaps, a massive process of expansion, which then, the herding of investment and usual things, which will lead to a fall down of total demand, a decline of total demand, and then, monetary policies will not work anyhow. The refugees perhaps are a good luck because they consume without producing. The problem which we see now is that monetary policies will not lead to this increase in production, because capitalists will perceive that monetary policy are just a sort of straw fire where no real increase in demand happens. And therefore they will not go for these investments, but they will stay in a wait-and-see position. And that's what Mr. Draghi realizes now. So the solution to this would be that we directly change the composition of the real elements of demand, that is, the composition of demand by increasing massively wages. In a decentralized system, that's very difficult to do. You could perhaps go for reducing tax rates on average incomes and so like this, but it's very complicated. The Keynesian view is not that rising purchasing power will lead to higher employment, may lead to higher employment. The Keynesian argument is sufficiently rising purchasing power will induce investment for providing goods for an expanding market, because the individual capitalist does not want his share diminishing, because other one will grow. Now, if you only increase to some extent mass consumption power by increasing wages, but not really pushing at the frontier of production, then you have only an increase in cost. You have no new investment, because the capital, suppose you have a situation in crisis where capacity utilization of 60%, if you push it to 80%, there is no capitalist who will invest in extending capacities. He will go for some rationalization investment or whatever, yeah, but he will not expand. Only if you push reliably far away the demand for products so that capacity utilization is exhausted and that the economy has to create new capacity, then you create new investment and therefore profit. That's why monetary policy will not work, especially in the rise when it's underemployment. What will work, and that's the argument later in the 30s of Keynes and others, is that you directly increase state spending. The basic recipe is to keep the economy near full employment, because then these measures like monetary policy and so will work, because then you reach higher levels of employment more rapidly.